Hey there, it's Jason, and welcome to the second episode of the You Good Homie podcast. I don't really know what to say for this introduction, but we just wanted to keep the editing styles consistent throughout all the videos. But we still hope you enjoy this episode of the ugh.podcast. This episode will be a lot more lighthearted compared to the first, but if there's any trigger warnings, we'll put a little timestamp so you can skip ahead if you so please. But yeah, without further ado, enjoy the episode.
So the next topic, I guess, is taking breaks. So like I guess this is like the coping mechanisms of whenever we're like like feeling down or we just feel stressed or whatever. So just like I guess a good way is like to take breaks and what the first point I had here is I guess building off of that, like being human first, is listening to your body and your head. What is it telling you like at this moment? Are you stressed? Are you tired? Are you hungry? Are you thirsty? Then you probably should address that problem because that like it's telling you like something is wrong and you have to fix it. And oftentimes to appear tough, to appear strong, we just push through the problem and we're only doing more damage to ourselves. Like this is a really big thing that I tell because I tutor kids and I like with YYC Youth Advancement Society, like we go to high schools and talk about like what university is like in uni, like it's expected for students to like grind, study all night, pull all-nighters. And I guess this advice applies not only to like those students but also in life. Like treat yourself like a human, like as much as like the fucking vaccine turns us into robots. Just kidding. You're not a machine, right? You're a human being. Like you are. You got limits. Right? And I feel like especially like we're in our 20s, right? And I recently got into like investing and stuff like that, and a lot of the and like financial advice and stuff like that, and a lot of the stuff that these people are saying is like, oh, you're in your 20s, you're young, it's a time to like grind, right? Like get your money, chase the bag, chase the goals, and then you're chilling in your 30s and 40s. I'm just like, well, not everyone has the same limits. Not everyone can work like two jobs. Not everyone has the motivation to like learn about investing, like trade crypto or whatever the fuck. Right? It's just like, if you yes, like you are young and you have a lot of capacity, more than you will have when you're older, but you have to know your limits as well. So I guess like a personal story is like, for the first half of this year, I was kind of in that mindset where I was like, you know what, I gotta get my money and then I'm gonna retire early.
Time on
I'm gonna
anxiety.
be
Time on
chilling. I'm
anxiety.
gonna be on a
grind.
I'm gonna be on a yacht. Like not a yacht, but like I'm gonna like, my main goal is to retire early.
We got
And
three
I was
air
like,
fryers instead of one.
the 3 air fryers, bro. That's actually the goal. One for each meal. Dinner. But no, like for the first time of this year, I was in that mindset where I was just like, I had to grind in my 20s, right? Like for example, as I mentioned earlier, I'm I'm like an engineer, so I work 9 to 5, and then after that, I was tutoring high school students, so I usually have, like, at the peak, I had like 5 students in like, because they do the subscription thing, like at one time. So I tutored students, and then I was also streaming regularly. So I was like gaming and streaming until like 1 a.m. Right? And then I wake up at 8 the next day and do it again. So like that's like a Monday to Friday thing where it's like, and even on the weekends I would game and stream, right? So like, when did I have time for myself? Like because usually what my day would look like a real busy day would be like, okay, wake up at like 8:30 and then have meetings the whole day, like only have like time for a 15-minute lunch break where like I had to eat fast and then go back to my computer, and then tutor for 2 hours, and then like I eat dinner, and then like hop on like Valorant or something, which is it's a very stressful game. Like, it's a game, but it's a very stressful game. It takes a lot of mental. So it's just like my brain is going for like 16 hours a day, and it was not sustainable. And I remember there was one time where we just like, I was chilling, right? And then I just broke down. I was like crying. I was like, yo, what am I what's happening? What's happening?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
it was really tough because it's just like I didn't listen to what my brain was telling me I needed. Like you need sleep. Like I was
Mhm,
tired all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You need to eat properly. I was skipping breakfast most days. That's also because like I was kind of doing intermittent fasting, but sometimes I also forgot.
mhm,
And I was like, I did not feel good like the morning. And then I ended up overeating at lunch and dinner and stuff like that. So it kind of just felt generally
yeah,
crap.
yeah.
So so it really like took that breaking point to make me realize, okay, you need to step back and like drop a few things and realize your limits.
Mhm,
So it's like, yeah. So what ended up happening was like I took a break from streaming, and then now I'm like, I only stream when I want to because I was streaming on a schedule, right? But it it
mhm,
came to a point where it didn't feel fulfilling anymore. Um, and like I was like, you know what, this isn't fun. This feels like a job,
mhm.
right? So it was almost like I was working three jobs in one day. So it's just like, you know what, this feels like a job. I'm just gonna drop
Yeah.
it. Like this isn't
Mm-hmm.
my main source of income. So it's just like, um, I'm just gonna chill. And then like tutoring, I once like the kids stopped, or once the kids like were done their courses, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna tutor for the next year just to give myself a break. And then like, and I was also in a relationship at that time, so I wanted to make time for that as well. So it's just like time management is a thing, but there's only so much you can do in 24 hours and 7 days, right? So it's
You
just
have
like
100% of yourself to give, and like,
100%, man.
yeah,
exactly, yeah.
yeah.
So it's just like, and burnout is a thing too, right? So
Ooh, ooh,
like
I got a story for
like
that.
how do you
Yeah,
how do you know you're burnt out? For me,
your
it's just
story's
like,
Yeah,
triggering me, but sorry, go on, go on.
yeah, like how do you know you're burnt out? It's like
yeah,
it's just like the things you used to enjoy, it just seems like a chore to you now. It's just like, like I
uh-huh,
said, streaming. It
yeah,
since I adopted like a schedule, it wasn't fun anymore, right? And it's just like, okay, like once you burn out, like what do you drop, right? So it's just like
mhm,
only keep the things in your life that are serving you and that are fulfilling and that are fun. Like yeah.
yeah.
So I guess that's kind of my story. Like I don't know what your guys is,
Oh, I got it.
Ronald.
I think Jason knows my story, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
but go.
I,
You tell your story. I'm gonna shut up because
okay,
I talk fucking
okay,
much. But go on.
okay. So,
Go on.
I know this Jason. I know this triggers Jason every time, but so this is a couple years back. I was an up and coming like dance teacher. I'd also like I'm also in my I was also just recently switched programs, but not into the program I'm taking now. So I was taking biosci at first, and then I was taking open studies, then I switched to biosci, and then I switched to geology. That's a whole nother podcast for me to discuss. But anyways, I was just fresh into a new program, and I'd become an upcoming teacher, so decided like, hey, I want to try teaching at studios. Like I want to try teaching at like ballet studios and like contemporary studios. So um my like director at the hip hop studio I work at hooked me up with a couple of jobs and like a ton of jobs. And I think the biggest thing for me was I took on way too much to handle. And I think that coming back to like the toxic masculinity and not talking about my feelings, that's one thing I wish I did, because I shouldered everything. I was teaching maybe like 11 kids classes. Well, not 11, like four kids classes. And then I was teaching like privates on top of that. So like pretty much my day would go, I'd wake up at 8, go to school, get off at like 2 or 3, um, take like an hour break, go to the studio till like 12 at night, and then wake up at 8, do it again. And then granted, like if you are in the studio life and you are a teacher and you are teaching at multiple studios, you do realize that that is 7 days of the week. So it's like, um, I was going to school Monday to Friday, and then after that, Saturday, Sunday was just full dance. Like there was no time for myself. And at the time, I was also in a relationship, so I was trying to find ways to like, and at that point, like I'm gonna make a little disclosure that that relationship was very toxic. So we were both asking for a lot of time with each other that I personally didn't have.
Mhm.
Um, it was just our schedules didn't line up. My schedule was just always packed. I was always teaching or I was always dancing. I had no time for friends. I had no free days. That whole like semester was just a fuck fest, if I'm gonna be honest. And I
I did
think
not talk to this guy, bro.
no, like
During that time.
I did not talk to anyone during that time. And I think it came to a breaking point because like literally I started to like cry and like audibly break down in front of all my students at a Christmas recital, dude. Like at a Christmas recital. Like this is in front
Mhm.
of hundreds of people. Like I was just like, bruh, like I've had enough. I can't do this. And like I wish at the time someone told me, like, yo, like you are being overworked. You are like not taking care of yourself. You need to like take a step back from so many things and like addressing burnout. And I think me, myself, I wish I told my younger self, like, yo, like you're like fucking yourself over, man. Like you're not eating, you're not taking care of yourself, you're not sleeping. Like I don't know what you're doing. And I was so obsessed with that grind mentality that like all this grind is going to make me a better teacher. All this grind is going to make me a better like a better human and like a better man for the future. And to be honest, it didn't. It set me back so many years because of what I was thinking back then. I think and like Vincent was talking about like what like to drop. And to be honest, it all negatively dropped for me because I got fired from that studio job. Like they let me go. um I like was pretty much failing like all my courses at that point, so I had to go into academic turnaround. And like and like at my main studio that I was working at, I got classes taken away from me. And that is like the consequences of like overstretching yourself, but it's also the consequences of not having like someone like a mentor telling you like, hey man, like you you're doing a little too much and you're
Mhm.
honestly not looking too good. Or like or like even having a solid support system. Like, and I'm not gonna blame it on anyone because it's honestly solely like it's honestly on me at that point to be like, hey, I need help, this is what's happening to me. But I think an important thing to take away from this is to learn that it's okay to take a step back and it's okay to take a break. No
Mm-hmm.
matter how successful or no matter how bright your future looks, it is always, always, always essential to take breaks, because if you don't, it will start to negatively affect every aspect of your life. Like,
Mhm.
I had a shitty relationship with my girlfriend at the time. I had a shitty relationship with a lot of the people that I worked with, and I had a shitty relationship with friends. Like Vince mentioned, I didn't even talk to the guy, right? So always, always, always out of this story, learn to take breaks and learn and like learn to talk to people about it, because it's like the thing is, if you don't talk to people about it, they'll never know, and they'll never be able to give you the advice to be like, hey, you're actually like not doing too great, man. So
Mhm.
yes, always, always the biggest lesson out of my story is to just fucking look, like don't be afraid to ask for help, man.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Good. I
Mr.
guess
Canul.
I guess I'll share. Yeah, because I literally have a story about overworking myself. Question, Ron, are you working for that studio next year?
Yep.
Okay, I won't talk too much shit then. Yeah, I like, and like even if they see this, like it's totally fine. But I talked
Yeah,
about
yeah.
it like on my story. Like I resent a lot
Yeah,
of the people there.
no, of course.
And, like my biggest problem was just like the lack of empathy. Cause yeah, like when I
Mhm.
saw Ronald cry, and then like literally the next day, I saw him being bullied by like staff and admin. Like I was molding, and like I wanted to confront so many people about it, but like at the time, like there was this one person in the studio that was like gaslighting me, and that was like, "You're an angry Aries, haha!" Like you're angry because you're an Aries, and I'm just like, I'm upset because I know this is gonna happen again, and that you're gonna like bully this man who's going through it, and if
Mhm.
he commits suicide, you're gonna be like, "Oh no, what the fuck happened?" Like you know what I mean? And that's why I was so fucking. But anyway, I'm gonna drop it because I know I'll get like tilted, and it's gonna get me mauled. Anyway, but yeah, what is it? So like I joined also the studio as well, so I was also dancing, and that year that I joined was I was dancing, I think 16 plus hours a week. So, and
Yeah.
if you don't know, that's fucking a lot, right?
That's
I was
a lot,
also
man.
I was also planning events. So it's like the event Catch the Shadows, I was playing this other event called the Shock. So I was doing event planning as well that year. And I was also working in studio jobs as well, and whatnot, right? And so my first year, I dropped 2 of my classes. So I went to 3, and I couldn't drop any more because I would get student loan penalties, and I couldn't apply for more student loans, right? And I went to academic probation as well. So like I literally was like, I just constantly just being shitted on right now, right? And like, um, that year my immune system got so bad because like, so what happened was like I was overworking myself to the point where I hit, so I'm the same height, so I'm like 5'6", 5'7", I think 5 foot more to 5'6". I weighed 114 pounds, 114 pounds, and like I was starving myself. I was I honestly like I classify it as like an eating disorder, like not to like, it was that bad because I felt like eating, and like maybe some sort of eating disorder, like eating, I felt guilty for eating. Like every time I had lunch I felt guilty that I wasn't that I was wasting time.
Working.
Yeah, that was wasting time. That wasn't working right. Every time, and like Karen always asks like, why the fuck do you eat so fast? Like it's because literally I'm so used to like I had to make as much time as possible for things that are important that I took my lunch away. I had to eat as fast as I can and it didn't work, right? And so I went to academic probation, right? And so like I kind of went this whole year, and like one of my biggest issues is that like, it was like, yes, it is my problem. Like, I need to talk about it, about it. But like what the issue was is that like when I tried to like address it in the studio where I kind of dressed like, I hit 114, right? There, like I was met with like, and especially from like faculty, like, sometimes you just need to work through it. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you just gotta, you just gotta get through it, right?
Like you could just push it to the side. Like you'll be fine. You'll be a better dancer for it.
And fucking like, you know what? And then there was like this one rehearsal where like we stayed up to 3 a.m. and like I was tired, I was fatigued. I felt like I almost passed out. And like literally when we had our little like, okay, woo, like a little cheering at the end, right? The director said like, this is what winners do, right? And we finished at 3 a.m. Like we finished at 3 a.m. and I was so fucking tired. And that message ingrained in my head because then next year, what I did is that I wanted to make time for dance, for school, for job, for everything. And like, so then I went even harder and it got even more problematic. So what happened was, Monday to Friday, because I had school every single day. So some people have like classes like 3 times a day. I had school every single day, right? So I took 3 classes. I decided to take 3 classes because like just to manage it. But what I would do is I would stay in like a cubicle at like my university till 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. finishing all my schoolwork, right? I would leave just to take lunch, but then I'll go back to do my schoolwork, right? And so the rationale was that I would finish my schoolwork throughout the week, and so I have no homework over the weekend, right? And it worked. Like that, honestly, it did work. So I had no school in the weekend. However, my weekend was filled with dance. So I was just dancing in the studio, right? I was just doing it. Plus, I was still event planning. I also picked up another job. I worked at Cineplex, so I had another part-time job, and I was teaching at studios. And also, I just started dating my girlfriend at the time, like that I have right now, right? So literally, I added even more in my fucking plate. I was a dumbass, right? Because I was like, and in my head, I was like, this is what winners do. This is what winners do, right? And like, I needed a responsible, emotional, intelligent adult to tell me, no, this is what fucking weirdos do. Like, you're not supposed to do that, right? And so like, and this is why I kind of have a little more have resentment because like, this is someone's instilling this toxic work like mentality in me. And so literally like I fucking burnt out. I remember it was my 21st birthday and like, I had like something to do that day. I had rehearsal and like my mom got me like a speakers, like a MacBook charger because I need to replace my charger and like some other expensive thing. And like, I just like, I would just passive aggressive to her. I just like went to my room and I didn't give a fuck. I was like, no, I don't care. And I just started crying. Like it was on my 21st birthday. People when they celebrate 21st birthday, get drunk, like celebrate. I was like,
yo, bro,
I was like, yo, like fuck being alive right now. And like, it was so bad. Sorry, I'm like kind of getting their chin up because I'm literally like thinking about
no.
It's so tricky. So like,
I feel you.
And and I'm trying to like not dox anyone because like literally like I resent so much like the shit that of some of the people that I was under the wing of because I'm like, you could have prevented this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like,
100%, dude.
And like, I'm trying not to blame them, right? Because it's not their fault. Like I should have told myself like, it's not okay. But literally when that's like the only mentor figure I had to look up to, like that was the shittiest fucking feeling, right?
Tough, man.
I'm not expecting you to be a therapist. I'm not expecting you to be a counselor, but I'm expecting you to be like, hey, are you okay? As one of your staff members and students, like, are you okay? Like, how are you, dude? Like, are you chill? Like, you know what I mean? You good, homie? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like you know what I mean? And like, and then at that point I could communicate like, hey, like I need to unload my work. Like I can't teach as much or whatever, or just something, you know what I mean? But I didn't get that shit, right? And thing is, I'm not the only one. Like I'm not the only one that like experienced that, right? And so like, and also like, not to get into my partner's story because that's her story to share, but she like, I'd always say that she went through it worse because honestly, she went through like I feel like a lot more shit than I did. What happened 100%. Was like when I left that space, right? I dismissed all my emotions. I was like, oh, I didn't go through anything. My partner went through more. She went through more. Right? And so I constantly dismissed the fact that like, you know, I was fed this fucking like capitalist lie of toxic hustle culture, and I couldn't really challenge it. And then finally, like, you know, this year I went through so many mental breakthroughs and helped me find peace. Like I had like, you know what, I'm gonna let these people go. Like, you know, they're, you know, not that I'm like, oh, talk to people about your life, but I was like, because I feel like you should always be willing to problem solve with people. But I was like, I need to distance myself with these people because like literally they cause like so much freaking pain and stuff. Like I literally overworked myself. I weighed 114 pounds and like no one asked if I was okay. I remember like they invited like an international choreographer, like and I'm gonna dox his name. His name was like was it Carla Durang? Is that name? Yeah. So
Carlos,
he's famous, whatever. Fuck it. And like I feel so bad because I was coughing so much in front of him, and I'm pretty sure I got him sick on the trip home, right? But literally, like I was sick from I think it was October to like February. I was sick for like
you were sick for a long time, dude. You were sick for a hot minute.
And I was like joking, I was like, I got bronchitis and stuff, and like I wasn't, but like no one asked if I was fucking okay, and I was like, dude, I fucking like, I get tilted every time I think about that. I was like, holy shit, that happened, like that actually happened. You know what I mean? But yeah, like that was like my recovery, and like, and I think you retweeted this, Vince, but it was like, you know, if you don't know how to take a break, your body will, right? And like literally, like that third university, I started dropping everything. Like I ended up not finishing school and stuff because like I literally was just so overwhelming. So I ended up dropping, left the studio. I think I left my fourth year.
You were there for a little bit, and then you didn't teach there anymore. You just kind of like stopped.
So like I stopped teaching. I quit. A lot of studio jobs. I basically like I end up dropping school and stuff, and then I end up like also participating less in groups in the studio and stuff, and like I ended up doing one group that year and stuff, and like, you know, I was in this constant battle of like, oh, should I stay? Like I feel like, you know, I really like dance, like I really want dance to be included, right? And it was funny because like on the last competition I was there, like we ended up getting first place in a category, and one of the faculty, like one of the higher ups, was like giving feedback of what we can do better, and I was like, and like, so and like if they listen to it, this podcast, I do not care, but I basically made a lie that my parents were moving to Chicago even though they weren't, because I knew that if I left without any context, they would be passive aggressive to me. So I just kind of made a lie saying, oh yeah, like my parents moved to Chicago, so like I can't stay, it's not my choice. But like I was I was lying out of my ass, like I did not care. I simply did not care. But like and so I was about to be like, you know what, maybe I should stay, right? But that was like the defining moment of like literally like we got first place in a category, and like this teacher is giving us feedback like, yeah, you know, you should do this, and I was like, you hate being happy, like what is wrong with you, like what is wrong with you? And I was so like tilted, and I was so like angry, and then like I kept breaking down in tears and stuff, and I was like, dude, I can't do this anymore. And so like literally like I couldn't even finish the year. I just like left halfway, and I was out. I was like,
I remember that.
And like, you know, I told everyone, it's because my parents are moving and I need to move with them, right? And I was like, no, my parents are staying in Calgary because like, they're just in Calgary. Like, I just don't want to be here anymore. And so I literally just left, right? So like, you know, my whole life, and I talk about this, like I was always trying to find closure, but I was like, you know what? It's not my responsibility to like, you know, help them realize what they're doing wrong and help them grow up. But like, you know, that's because I've dealt with so much shit. It's not my job to micromanage like their shit and like to help them get their emotional milestones, right? It's not my responsibility. Like I need to fucking accept what happened and moved on, right? And so like literally, and trying to go full circle about taking breaks, like if you don't tell your body to take a break, your body will force you to take a break. Like that is 100%, right? And I was like
100% true.
100%.
I was like fuck and so like literally my body just shut down, and like ever since I stopped everything, like, you know, even though I haven't get the success I always wanted, I've been so much happier. Like I'm like in such a better like mindset and stuff, and like, you know, I also have been streaming as well. I've also been picking up piano and stuff, and like having time to learn to cook, and I have a lot more free time. I have a semi sort of stable job. It's like temporary, but it's helped me pay off my provincial loans and stuff, whatnot. But like literally, like, you know, it was weird because I felt like I accomplished a lot this year with doing less work, which is kind of weird, right? You know what I mean?
No, I
right?
feel that.
It's because
100%.
and it's literally because like when I was working, my body was at 100% capacity. It wasn't at 30%, right? Because like, and if you do the math, like literally, if you do that, like what Vince said, like you did like the 16 hours and then you fall asleep, like I can do it again. your body does not work that way. Sleeping doesn't reset your body in that kind of capacity. It builds up, right? So like, if you like need to take a break, like be okay with setting boundaries for yourself. I'm like, hey, I can't handle this. Like, this is not okay. You know what I mean? And just like kind of, and be able to stop. Yeah, but that's
I guess to touch on like that winner's mentality thing, and just like to be very blunt, right? Like to be very blunt, like that winner's mentality thing that just kind of like struck a nerve with me too, because it's just like, okay, you might be winning, right? You're like, you know, you're forcing these people to work on like less than 5 hours of sleep, like whatever, like not eating and stuff like that, like
no water during rehearsal. What the fuck is that shit?
not giving them the proper encouragement to, you know, be motivated. Yeah, you might be winning, but let's be very blunt about it here, and incorporate the fact that your body will tell you like when you take a break. When your body, you know, like when you develop like severe mental health issues, weight loss or weight gain issues, long-term chronic effects like fucking, I don't know, if you're not eating healthy, you can develop diabetes, obesity,
knee pain, a joint pain,
joint pain, you know,
injuries.
heart problems, injuries, and even like I know people who have been stressed, like major stress, who've had strokes. Okay, so when you're that, are you really winning then? Like, biology is a thing, right? Like, you're not a winner when your body is broken down as shit. Like when you're close to like, because these health effects also last for a lifetime. So like, you could be winning
100%.
in your fucking 20s, but then you're losing in your 30s and 40s. Like, I just don't like this like hustle mentality. It's just like you have a lot of life to live. You have like, it might not seem like it, but you have a long time to get whatever you want, whether it be money or fame or clout or whatever, right? You have a long time. So, you know, you don't have to do it all in 2 years or 3 years or whatever. No matter what anyone says, like, just go at your own pace. So yeah, that's I guess what I wanted to say.
I'm also gonna tangent a little bit, but
go ahead.
because no, I know it's still about men's mental health, but I think this is also a good thing to address, and it's also a good story to touch on. Especially when it comes to like dance or whatever you do or whatever you're passionate about, especially if it's a physical activity like basketball, hockey, whatever sport, or if it's a job that you're very passionate about. I think it is very okay to listen to what your body is telling you and what we've been saying. I had this was a previous girlfriend that I had danced with for a long time, and she was going through it. She had a lot of like mental health issues at the time, but she was like, her body was breaking down physically. Like her knees, like her MCL was about to tear, like at this point. And I kept telling her like, hey, like, you need to chill. Like, you shouldn't be dancing so much to the point where you're about to like tear your knee, or your knee is hurting and you're like crying because it's hurting. It's like, if your body's telling you to take a break, take a fucking break, man.
Take that
Like,
break.
no injury is worth any first place prize or any success that you may stumble upon to because of
Diamond.
whatever. Yeah, exactly. That was the turning point. Like I think the first turning point for me was like, fuck, I'm actually a failure, and I'm like failing at all this shit because I'm overloaded. And then the second turning point was like, stop fucking dancing so much that you're gonna injure yourself. Like it, and this is a girl, so like it's also like a coping mechanism. Like, listen to your body and like be able to tell yourself like, if I'm going to get injured because of this, or if I'm going to have long-term effects like in my life because of this, I should maybe stop and take a step back. It is so fucking important, especially like, and like dance hits so close to home. And like, yes, I still work for the studio, and yes, like I'm not going to agree with everything they do, but I just think that like, personally, if you are in a position of power like myself or like anyone else, you should be able to tell like whoever is under you, like, yo, nothing is worth this much for you to injure yourself. Nothing is worth this much for you to sacrifice your own mental health. We're talking about coping mechanisms, and a lot of my coping mechanisms now is taking a step back and removing everything that's toxic at the point and I'm removing everything that's not worth it. Because at this point, I'm thinking a lot of like what I would have done if I was in my teens with the brain that I have now. I probably honestly would have stopped dancing a long time ago, and I probably honestly would have carried on with something else. But
Mhm.
there was that hustle, like winners mentality that was ingrained to me by a lot of my like peers and mentors. Um, and like I just think that like that kind of mentality just doesn't work. It will never work. And a lot of like dance communities nowadays are like, bro, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like even in the States, like they're just like, man, like there was like that hustle grind mentality, like hell night. It's like, bro, you don't need a hell week or a hell night, like where you need to rehearse
Hell
fucking 12
night.
plus hours and shit like that. Or
Demon hours
you
a
need
week.
yeah, you
Demon
need to like you need to fucking rehearse like 40 hours a week. There's no trophy is worth that much.
Yeah.
Because the professionals know that like it's okay to like take breaks. Like you don't need to grind for everything because at the end of the day, you is what matters the most. And for me, I'm just like, if I know that like I can't handle it, I'll be like, no, I don't I can't handle this. Or if something's like weighing me down emotionally or like mentally, I'll be like, I can't do this anymore. And like I've done it with relationships, I've done it with like jobs, I've done it with school, like taking less courses, like fuck the graduating in 5 years. I've been in school for almost like fucking, I don't know, 6 years, but
My brother was in school for 7. My brother was in school for
right?
7.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like there's no timeline, but there is a timeline for you breaking down.
True
Mhm.
There's
facts.
no yeah, like there's no timeline for success. But there is a timeline for you to be like, man, I'm fucking miserable.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And like it's better to realize it earlier sooner rather than later. And it also helps, and I'm saying this to all the mentors out there, it also helps for someone to be like, yo, like it's not worth it. Like
Yeah.
just take care of yourself.
And I think like just to wrap up this topic, like the only person you need to listen to, like we've talked a lot about like how society influences us, how our circle of friends influences us, how our mentors or teachers influence us. The only person you really need to listen to is yourself, because like, and I guess like this will come up again in like the relationship podcast, but like the
Yeah.
only person who's gonna be with you until the end, until you're on your fucking deathbed,
Yep.
is yourself,
It's just
right? So the only like the person you should be most loyal to is yourself. So you need to listen to, again, what your body's telling you, what your mind is telling you that you need in the moment, and you have to cater to that, because you never know when, like this hustle culture, like, oh yeah, I cannot sleep today, I'll just finish this, and like, I can do like multiple 24-hour streams, and like stream every day, and
Oh.
not sleep. It's just like,
yeah.
you never know when that could have like a severe health effect, right? So you need to listen to your body, because you never know when you could, drop dead, like just because you're overworking yourself, and stuff like that. So I guess like the next section is like coping mechanisms. So I guess I'll share mine. So I have a few here that that really work for me. So I guess like before I go into that, it's just like you need to first really reflect, because some of these might not work for you, or you're not really feeling them. So it's just like, you know what works for you, and to figure that out, you need to reflect and try different things. Some things might not work, and that's okay. Like you just keep trying different things. So for me, first most important thing is sleep.
Ah.
Sleep is super important. Like I
Oh,
used
yep.
to not I
Yep.
used to like do 6-hour nights, and like be like, yeah, I'm okay.
Ooh.
But yeah, so ever since I've started sleeping earlier, like I've felt good. Like waking up at like 7:30 in the morning, having an hour to myself before work is super important, because I can have breakfast, I can like stretch, I can take a shower, not feel dirty throughout the day. So
Mhm.
it's just like, if before I was like just getting up and getting on my computer right away, right? So it's just like
Oh
it
yeah.
it
Yep.
it's just like you get up, you no time to like start up. um but yeah, so sleep, take naps as well, like that's something that is really valuable to me. especially working from home. It's definitely a luxury. So I took advantage of it. Second thing is journaling. So I know for guys, especially, this is kind of like, oh, that's like a girl thing. Like, why do you keep a diary? Like, dear diary, blah blah
Yeah,
blah. You're such a
Mhm.
bitch. Like,
yeah.
it's super super helpful for me. Like,
So important.
especially if so we've been talking about like like reaching out to people or talking to your friends like when you don't feel well. But what if like no one is emotionally available or physically available for you at that moment? Like
Mhm.
if you don't have anyone to talk to or you're uncomfortable bringing it up to people, then like physically writing down my thoughts like allows my brain to kind of process it and make sense of it all. Because when you're feeling it, when you're going through it, it's just like
Mhm.
your emotions kind of like overwhelm you and your sorry to get biological, but your frontal lobe of like where you process your thoughts doesn't have time to work and tell
It's too much
yourself that
stimuli, too
this
much
is
information. Yeah.
yeah, too much information. Like this is okay. You're gonna get through this. And like a good thing about journaling is you also get to see your progress. So like one thing I like to do is like read back and kind of like laugh at myself because it's some of the issues that I wrote down in
Yeah,
the moment that I was like, oh my god, this is so bad. I'm gonna die. I was like, you're fucking
yeah.
idiot. You're
Is it fucking cringe?
cringe. And it's good to see like that because like you see like you've gone through it and you're stronger because of it. So journaling, really good idea. Um, Next, being active. And I know during COVID, this was super hard because gyms
Oh
were
yeah.
closed. You couldn't
Yeah, yeah.
like go to like recreational facilities. But like even just like taking a walk when it's nice outside or like getting up off your chair every 15 minutes helped me during COVID. Next, speaking of COVID, being around people.
Yep.
So now with like COVID getting better, it's
Mhm,
a lot easier to
mhm.
meet up with people. And I've been doing that a lot the past few weeks, and it's
Yeah.
really helped.
Mhm.
Just like reconnecting with people and just seeing what they're up to and being around people because like I'm the type of person to kind of feed off of other people's energy. Like I'm not really an extroverted person where I can just generate my own energy.
Mhm.
So I kind of feed off other people's energy. So that makes me feel good when I'm just hanging out with people and I can chime in here and there. So on this note though, like whenever I'm with people and like I know I have something I want to talk to them about that's kind of deep or kind of like personal,
Yep.
I hesitate a lot and like wait for them to be like, hey, so like this thing that happened
Yeah.
or this issue that you're kind of like upset about, like what happened with that. So I kind of wait for me to ask what's wrong, but when I finally bring it up, they're like, oh yeah, I really want to hear about that, but I didn't really know how to bring it up. So right.
Mhm.
So it's
Mhm.
just like if you're doubtful, just bring it up. If you trust them, like
Yeah.
if you trust the people, then it shouldn't really matter how you deliver, right? It just matters
Mhm.
how you like if they're receptive of it.
Oh dang! I feel like we should make another episode about healthy peer relationships. Like speaking on that as
Yes,
a follow up.
Uh-huh.
yes, in the
But sorry.
relationship
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
podcast.
yeah.
Yeah. But
The
yeah, you're right.
relationship podcast.
Of course, of
Yes.
course.
And then the last thing, I guess we talked about it, I guess taking breaks is like dealing with stress. So I guess this is a little personal story, but like I just like realize that I tend to get stressed about like the littlest things. Part of that I guess is because I'm an overthinker, and part of that is because like I grew up playing League. So it's just like you're age about the like it's just a game, right? So like when you get but anyway, so it's just like when you get stressed out like about littlest things, your fight or flight response kicks in on the littlest things when you're like that flight or fight response is just meant for when you're about to die, right? So like and you lash out or like I lash out or get angry at like the littlest things. So this is like and it passes by usually very quickly. But it's unhealthy because it can cause like high blood pressure and heart disease in the future and whatnot.
Yep.
Like like I don't want to get all scientific, but like it releases like too much. If you have too much adrenaline and too much cortisol, it can like affect your body in bad way in
Yeah.
the future.
Yeah.
Toxic
Yeah.
stress. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so I actually like read about this and like what causes this like flight or fight response with littlest things. Like it's actually called like this. So there's this part of your brain called the amygdala,
Oh
which
yeah.
controls
Emotion.
which
Yeah.
activates the flight or fight response,
Mhm.
and like it can like in those moments of stress, like it can hijack your brain and activate it when it doesn't really need to. Like your brain doesn't really know. Okay, I just feel stress. Is
Yeah.
this a real problem or not? And it doesn't have that time to like think rationally, and that's kind of what like causes people to like lash out and stuff, right? So like in those moments, what I like to do is like, and it's like a challenge, I guess, for me to do this is practice like mindfulness. So like being present in the moment, like being aware of all your feelings and your like senses at like what are you feeling at this time, um, and that gives your brain time to like adjust and like rationalize. Okay, is this problem really a problem? Am I really dying? Do I really need to be this stressed about it? And then from there you can kind of walk yourself off of that um that ledge, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, like just practice breathing and like take like stepping away from whatever is stressful at the time. Like for example, for Valor, I used to get so tilted, bro. I just like,
Oh,
this is a very tilting game, but like now it's
uh,
just like, you know what? It's just a game, bro.
it's the
I
game.
that's
And like
actually. I'm just gonna add a side note.
the
I don't really see you angry, and that I Valorant like the first time I ever saw you mold. I was like, but, but sorry, go on, go
I
on.
try not to do it anymore. But it's just like at work too, and when people or like my computer like doesn't work or just, you know what, it's just like, you know what, just walk away, take a break. You're getting paid for this break anyway, so might as well, right? So it's just like so free, bro, so
So
free.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess like since I haven't really, so I talked about my story earlier about like not taking breaks and like just being in that like hustle culture and whatever hustle mindset. So I haven't been really like practicing these coping mechanisms for a while, but I have realized that I am like so much happier and like so much calmer, so much more reflective, and being like in tune with my thoughts and emotions. So definitely, like my advice would be like try there's a lot of coping mechanisms that are different for people, so just try out what works for you. If it doesn't work, then try another one, you know, just keep trying, and eventually one will click. So that is my spiel.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh, I'll go
Father
next.
Vince.
Father
Vince.
Mhm.
Uh, I had to learn a lot of coping mechanisms. Like I guess on my own. Not really like with anyone's help, and I kind of would like some people's help at times to figure out coping mechanisms, but because of what the situation like entailed, especially years ago, one of the coping mechanisms that I kind of over abused, like a was as the same as Vince is like sleeping. I used to like if I was very very stressed out about something, it almost became like a toxic coping mechanism. But it is a coping mechanism that helps me now in moderation. Is
Moderation,
like
yeah.
sleeping. Yeah,
Mhm.
um uh like sleeping. Before when I was like super sad and depressed, I used to like sleep for like almost 12 hours a day. Like maybe even 14. Like I would stretch maybe like 12, 14 hours and then like I'd be like, oh, I miss school. I'm gonna sleep again. Right. Um and that was like kind of my mentality about it. If I was ever sad about anything, I'd just sleep it off. Right. I still do. Like if I'm ever sad about something, I will always, or if I'm ever frustrated about something or I'm angry about something, I will always take the time to think about it before bed and then sleep it off. And then in the next morning, if I feel the same way about it, I will take action and address it in a different way. Right. So I think for me, thinking about it and then sleeping on it is like one of my biggest coping mechanisms that I use like now. Especially because I love sleep. Um, is to really, really think about it. Think about it for at least like a good like 30 minutes to an hour before I sleep. I always like kind of like set a timer, be like kind of like weigh the pros and cons. And like sometimes I'll even like with Vince, I'll like type it down on my phone and write it down. Like, what are the pros and cons of me being angry about this? And like what are the pros and cons of like me taking action this way, as I am in the moment. And then I'll kind of sit on it, sleep on it, and then take action the next day.
Mhm.
That's like one of my big coping mechanisms. Another coping mechanism that I've like just recently started to do is like rebuilding a like having a good support system and not being afraid to go to them for help. I think back then I used to never talk to my friends or never talk to other people about what the important personal problems are. And to be honest, if I don't think it's important, it probably is. and like probably the not important things half the time are like not important. But like the important, like if I don't think that it's important, I will still regardless go to my like support system and be like, hey, I am like thinking about this and this and this. What are your guys' thoughts? And if they're like emotionally available, if they're like ready for that conversation, then they'll give me that advice. And more often than not, it's like Vince or like the H&D boys like you, Jason, like you and like you, Jason, and like Flores and like all the other guys. It's always good to like have differing opinions and discussion about something that you're thinking about, especially if it's important pertaining to relationships in your life or like job stability or success or just the future in general. I think it's always good to talk about someone with it, because not only will they added perspective, but more often than not they might agree with some points, but they'll also won't be afraid to tell you when you're wrong, and that's the important part. Telling you like
on that though. Actually, no, Ronald, finish your point. I think you're.
Yeah,
I feel you, Vince.
like telling you when you're wrong is like an important thing as well.
Yeah.
Wake up slap.
Yeah. I feel like you do need those. You really need those people in your life, like people who can go both ways. Like you don't want just yes men in your life. You need people who can tell you like when you're out of line, when you're being stupid, when you're wrong. Those people are a lot more important, I would argue, than people who are just like, oh my gosh, you're so good, man. Like
they make you feel good. They make you feel good.
Yeah,
man, that's totally a good idea. Bruh.
Nah, bruh.
It's stupid. And then the third coping mechanism that I probably use the most as well is like reinvesting myself into things I'm passionate about. So when I'm frustrated about something, or when I am like sad about something, I will like for me it's like dance and cooking. So like I will always make a piece about my frustration, or I'll make a piece about my sadness, and then like it'll probably be like a dog piece, but like at least I like addressed it in a healthy way. Or like cooking. I'll obviously won't do this all the time, because like this is like how I gained weight like over the pandemic. Like if I was really sad about something, I'd either order out or cook. So it's like really unhealthy things. So it's like do it in moderation, especially if it is something like cooking. I would like learn a new recipe, and then I'd be like, yo, and then I'd have that like kind of serotonin boost and like feel fulfilled because I accomplished something. And then I'll be like, I'll be able to think about whatever I'm thinking about more rationally. Like if I was sad about a piece and I completed the piece, I'm like, man, this piece is kind of cool, and it's still dog, but like I'm like I did something, and now I have that serotonin boost to think about what I'm thinking about more positively and in a better light. So that's what I like personally do. But yeah, that's all my coping measures.
Mr. JBC.
Oh,
JBC.
Junior Bacon Cheeseburger.
Yes,
Speaking of which, that used to be a coping mechanism with stress eating.
Oh, Mr. Wendy's, bro.
Yeah, dude.
This guy loves Wendy's.
It's funny because like I haven't had a Wendy's burger in 4 months, and if you know me well, you know I love when I would kill for a Wendy's burger, dude. I will make love to a Wendy's burger. It's that good, dude.
Sponsor us, bro.
Wendy's, please sponsor us,
bro. Like and even like when people are like, oh, like when you eat healthier, like you don't like crave junk food. I'm constantly, when I wake up every morning, I'm like, I wish I had a Wendy's burger right now. Like that would make my life so much better. But I obviously resort to different coping mechanisms. Now, one of the things I want to talk about was rituals. That is something that I like to talk about. Now,
Yes, sir.
when I'm talking about my coping mechanisms, I also want to talk about the difference between distractions and actual coping mechanisms, which is I feel like was something that I kind of struggled with. So recently, and like I think like Vince could attest to this, right? So we have like a little group chat that we play Valorant together, right? I just haven't been participating at all, right? And so it's kind of hard because like I'm trying, because like I realize me being an extrovert, to make myself feel good, I need to be around people all the time, like all the freaking time, right? And so I constantly was codependent and reliant on other people to make myself feel good. But recently I was like, oh gosh, I think I just need to be able to have some alone time to really reflect, because like when I'm with other people, I'm kind of just so focused on trying to stimulate conversation or just, trying to do something that I really don't have time to reflect. Now, Vince like mentioned when we started this category about like, everyone copes differently, right? And like, and then you end up following with bullet journaling. A lot of my peers recommend bullet journaling, and like I have kind of been bullet journaling, but I honestly feel like it's something that doesn't work the best for me. But I do recommend doing it though, and here's why. So like, First of all, let me talk about my like how I started to do these rituals. I started like my morning routine, right? So when I wake up, and so I go to bed now like at 10 or 10:30. I'm trying to so hard, and it sucks because like my friends are up late to like midnight playing video games, and I want to participate so bad, but I just know that like you know what, like I have emotionally intelligent friends. They will check up on me, like and I can also follow up whenever I need them. Like they're not gonna be like, why are you ghosting us? Like no, like they're smart. They're smart people, right? So I trust them. So and having peer relationships obviously helps, right? So every time I wake up in the morning, and wake up, I'm waking up super early. So I'm waking up 5:30. I'll work out. I would stretch. I have really bad back problems, so I'll do like this acupuncture mat and stuff like that. Then I'll make myself breakfast, and so I've been eating breakfast every morning, like every morning. Then I'll shower, do my face routines, my cleanser, everything, and like whatever. And then if you don't know, I also have a lazy eye when I wake up. So what I used to do sometimes is I used to have this little string on the door that would help me strengthen my lazy eye. So sometimes I would just listen to calm music and kind of train my lazy eye. I also kind of switched to like using Valorant aim lab to help my lazy eye, like how the crosshair is like this, right? And it works, right? So what it does, it helps me because I'm not grinding for Valorant because like I don't I just kind of play the game casually, but it helps my aim so that I can keep up with my homies, so I don't let them down. Like so when we do like a group activity, I can participate, but also like I'm able to strengthen my lazy eye at the same time. So by the time I leave my house, I'm not driving with like a stupid lazy eye, right? So but yeah, so having a morning routine, right? And so another thing that someone was telling me is like, oh, you should bullet journal, right? And so like I try including that in my morning routine, and I also try to play piano in the morning routine, right? So I was adding more and more stuff, right, just to like be like, oh, this is gonna help me cope. This is but in reality, I was just kind of making distractions, right? Because like that morning routine is long enough as it is. It's I feel like it's even too long. I need to probably cut something. I just don't know what. Like I have to eat. I need to clean my face. I have to shower. Like I got like these are pretty important things for me, right? But like for those of you who've never tried bullet journaling, right? You don't have to do it every single day, right? For some people, they love that ritual of doing every single day. But for me, when I'm alone, that's when my brain is firing up and I'm constantly thinking and like that overthinking. I'm constantly thinking, right? So and like what Vince said, like your brain is getting overwhelmed, so you need to write it down. That is when I decide to write down things down. Yeah, only then. I will not like. I'm not like, oh, every time I go to bed, like, oh, I gotta open my bullet journal and tell about my day. Like, take it with shit because I didn't get Wendy's today. Like I sometimes I'm just too tired and I just kind of want to like pass out. Especially like if I end my day and it's like almost midnight. I'm like, I have work tomorrow. Like I have to go to sleep, right? And like being okay with like breaking that ritual, because like I also was streaming with schedule, right? And I ended up cutting from 3 days to 2 days, and oh my gosh, it's so amazing. Like having another day off is as a blessing. Like that's been helping me so much. But there's a big difference between coping mechanisms and distractions, right? Because some people, like, their coping mechanisms like alcohol or TV or video games or like eating, right? And like when you do those things, they give you that quick dopamine rush, right? But they don't really solve the problem, right? You know what I mean? You're not reflecting, right? And I think a best thing to do with coping mechanism is that it a lot of times it requires reflection, right? And it requires like healthy living, right? So like my working out helps me because like if you don't know, like like runner's high, like it stimulates your brain. So when you work out, like it stimulates your brain, so like you're less likely to have symptoms of depression, right? If your brain is stimulated. If a brain with depression doesn't really have a lot of nerves stimulated as compared to a brain that doesn't have depression, right? So that's why we always say like exercise, right? And like it's kind of hard because sometimes like all the fun things happen at night and like gaming or even pre-COVID at nighttime, and I want to participate, but sometimes I'm just like, you know what, like I have reliable friends, you know what I mean? And like that was something that like I took time to really like nourish, because I was like, hey, and I always tell my friends like, hey, I appreciate you so much. Like I was like, like, I always thank them for everything, because like I realized that like friendships are so much more valuable than I thought they were, because I like at a time I was kind of valuing like money and capital, whatever the hell, you know what I mean? Like, let's go. But now like I'm really having like I have reliable friends, so like when I'm able to reconnect with them, right, it's like there's no hostility, there's no passive aggressiveness, and like it's been really helping me. But also like being, and that's what when I kind of go back from the past episode where I was talking about self-regulating, is that I'm able to self-regulate a lot better. But also if I need to talk something out, because bullet journaling sometimes doesn't do for me, like sometimes I need someone else to help me rewire my thoughts to really make sense of it. Talking to someone has really been helping me, right? I'm very thankful for my recent coworker, like that working at my job right now. I don't think I tell her enough how much I appreciate her as like a coworker, because like it's not her job to like talk to me about like shit going on home, but she just does it anyways, right? And then and vice versa. I also listen to her week, what's going on with like her stuff, right? And like she's really been helping me like with wire stuff, and so like and also like I have been also taking counseling as well. Like I finally decided to like I was like stop being a coward kind of thing, or I was like I know that's kind of weird thing, but I was like like I need to, so I started taking counseling, and also that has always helped me like rerun my thoughts, because I realized that like bullet journaling for me didn't work. I need to talk to someone. I need to like say it out loud. Like I need to speak my piece, because then it would drive me insane. Writing it down, like it just wasn't the same. Also because like when you see people bullet journals, like especially like because it's like a feminine thing, right? You see like the girls' journals, it's all like neat and like it's clean and everything. But my writing looks like massacre. It looks disgusting, and I'm like, ew, like I don't want to read this. Like this is disgusting. But like I realized that like reflecting is important, so I'll do what I can, but I don't need to make a necessity, right? But if you can do daily, I do recommend it, because it does help you keep track of like your mood every single day. But for me, it's like it helps me reflect on like times when I was vulnerable, and I'm able to reflect on it, right? So like you don't always have to do it every single day. But yeah, like I kind of just want to talk about that, because like I feel like sometimes like if it doesn't work for you, try something else, right? You don't always have to cope the same way as someone else, right? And really be mindful about like what's a defense mechanism, and what's a distraction, and what's an actual coping mechanism, right? Like what actually will bring you to a better mental state and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, that's all I really want to talk about.
I think I struggled a lot with self-image for the last couple years. Like I suffered a lot. Well, so the reason why I was going for therapy a long time ago was because I was suffering from like a depression. And like I think like I might have diagnosed bipolar disorder, but I honestly don't know. Um, I think there's still like more research to be done on my end to really figure that out, and the doctor as well. But I was going to therapy for it, and like really like trying to figure myself out, and trying to figure out what like was defining me. And I think for the latter part of my life, actually for like a good like maybe 3-4 years, ever since I entered university, I let like my depression and like my sadness and a lot of the uncertainties in my life define me. And I think that self-image is just not healthy in general, for anyone. uh and I kind of pushed it all under the rug, because I was like, I need to be that alpha male who is just like, will take care of everyone, will like be strong, like because on top of being like a straight cis male and a person of color, I'm also like an older brother, right? So it's just, I was always under that mentality that like I need to be that strong older brother. I need to be that role model for them. I can't show weakness, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that really affected my self-image, because I valued myself as less of a person if I had this symptom, or like this pretty much mental disorder, right? um I think the biggest important thing to come out of like self-image, especially like now, I think COVID really helped with like my self-image, and taking a step back and thinking about it. Think about the things that like aren't necessarily, I guess, more definable about you. I always thought that like dance would define me. I always thought that like what I was doing in school would define me, but I don't think those things necessarily are that important. I think what defines you is who you are as a person. So like I am a very kind person. I am a very like I'm a very confident, like I'm a very confident person when I can be. I'm a very compassionate person. I'm strong. Like I when I think about something and I want to get it done, I will like do everything in my power to get it done, right? Like the qualities that matter to me most as a person. And I think that's what really helped with my self-image, and not defining myself as like, oh, I'm going on to my like fucking 6 year school and university, or I'm going on to like, or like I'm still a dance teacher and I haven't become an international choreographer superstar extraordinaire or some shit like that, right? I think it's I think it's like taking a step back and really reevaluating like what kind of person am I, and what kind of person will I continue to be going forward? Especially pertaining to other people, right? Like if I were to think about like what character, like if I were to ask Vince or Jason, like what kind of person am I? and like they would have nothing to say but like good things, I hope.
Double
But like
cheeked up, bro.
Press
but,
on
like-
win main.
But like
Exactly.
literally, yeah, like ask yourself like what would my peers say about me, and think about yourself that way, right?
Mhm.
Like if you think like, oh, like my peers think like I'm a depressed like down go-getter, then it's like maybe you need new peers, or maybe you
You
just
need
need
new
to change like you need to change your mindset, right?
Yeah.
So I think a big part of self-image is like valuing yourself on what other people would describe you, not like physically or like, I guess like how like dance wise, career wise, like money wise, stuff like that. I think it's more like personality, I guess, if you could say that. It's like
Yeah.
personality, who you are as a person. And I think that's what is most valuable to me personally.
Yeah.
And that's what
Mhm.
helped with my self-image going forward.
Building off of that, I guess it's like one thing I really struggled with, I guess like throughout all of my like young adult life and even still currently, I am a young adult still. I'm not old yet, hopefully. Is negative self-talk, like, and that sometimes for me always came up when I compared myself with other people. It's just like, why, um like it like I'm happy for them, like the good things are coming to their life, right? But it's just like I look at myself and it's just like,
Yeah.
why aren't those same good things or same blessings coming to me? Just like what's and those thoughts lead into like, okay, what am I deficient in? Like, am I not, like, for example, in relationships,
Mhm.
like I'm not good looking enough? Am I not like,
Yeah.
um do I not have enough like do I not know how to talk to people, or like in career wise, like am I competent in my job? Am I like, yeah, like, so stuff like this, like you start to question your competence and your ability to be yourself. And it's just like what Ronald was saying, like, um think of yourself how, like, I had to think of myself like how my friends would see me. And affirmations like really help. It's just like,
Mhm.
like, just remind yourself like, I am a good person, I am like compassionate, and I am a good friend. I'm worthy of all the blessings that have yet to come to me. So,
Yeah.
it's just like, you like, this is another podcast topic in itself, but it's just like your path is not the same as others. It's just like sometimes like people will get blessings before you. It's not like everyone will get them at the same time. So it's just like, you know yeah, and a big part of self-image, I guess, is being positive towards yourself, not comparing to other people, and like knowing that you are your own individual, that has both positive and negative, like, characteristics. But you always work on your your downsides, but you do have to praise yourself for your positive qualities every day, like a lot.
Mhm.
Got a fat ass.
Yes, sir.
Maybe.
Double cheeked up.
Oh my god, kind of lost my train of thought, but oh yeah, like I guess like when you guys mentioned like how your friends how you view you, like I'm always like, is it just loud Mexican? Is that just how, like, I guess, like, because I know I'm loud, I know I'm
Loud,
petty,
stern Mexican
I'm
boy
I'm
Who
petty as
loves
fuck sometimes.
Wendy's.
Yeah, a loud Mexican boy, like Wendy's Koopa worshiper who's loud, petty as fuck. But like, like I think lately, like, or my whole life mostly, I've been very unapologetic about who I am. Like, at first I used to feel insecure that I was like, oh, like this is not the energy people want, because I have sometimes, like, because Karen like reminds me, like, sometimes you are too much sometimes. But I used to feel bad about that, but I was like, you know what, like, I think I just gotta be more mindful about when other people in the room. It's not that I have to change who I am. Like, at the end of the day, like, I'm very, like, I get hyped. This is who I am, right? So like and like, I'm very unapologetic who I am, but I also understand, like, I like to be mindful about other people. But kind of speaking about that, like, in terms of like define yourself, like I know like Ronald mentioned about dance, and like, we mentioned dance a lot because like a lot of us have history with dance, but this can apply to anything. Because I kind of want to keep it related to like everyone, but like, defining like being codependent on your identity with like dance or through any or something, you know what I mean? And like again, use an example of dance. Like I kind of like I made this tweet and stuff like that talking about it. Like every time I followed up with a dancer, I purposely asked them the question, hey, how are you? How's life? What have you been doing in your free time? You know what I mean? I purposely asked that question, right? And they immediately turn the conversation like, yeah, I've been taking this class and taking dance stuff. And like,
100%.
you know what I mean? Like in the back of my head, I'm like, virgin. But like, you know, like, and like, sorry, that's a toxic masculinity thing in itself. But it's like, dude, like you're carving your identity so much that like, if this thing doesn't work out, like you're going to get destroyed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think it's very unhealthy for you to be tunnel vision. You know what I mean? And again, talking about some of the people who were more credible, they have recreational hobbies. Like I know Drummo Sponser like makes clothing. Like that's just a thing he does. And he's so freaking good. But he just makes clothing. He's a carpenter. He just does recreational stuff. And I was like, there's nothing wrong with being able to like do recreational activities. And I think carving your identity around like a certain like
singular thing,
like basketball, like esports, like Valorant, whatever.
Your job.
You know what I mean? Yeah, like that. I think that is so unhealthy because like life is always changing. Life is constantly changing, and if like you don't know, because you know people are like, what do you think will be in the next 5 years? Like I hate that question. I'm like, I don't know. Like why?
I don't
like,
fucking know, man.
Like why do you care so much? Like, you know, I'm still trying to like I'm still young, especially when young to a young person who doesn't really know themselves that well. Like that's such a weird question.
Yeah, bro.
But like sometimes you literally don't know where it could be in 5 years, right? And that's okay, right? So I guess as a healthy living, like really being okay with not carving identity around one thing, right? Like you are a combination of all the memories and all the experiences you have. You know what I mean? You're not just one thing, right? And I always like to remind people of that because like, yeah, that was like the biggest problem is like social awareness and like they just had like, no social skills whatsoever because they were so fixated on this like one thing. And I'm just like, hey man, do you wanna go to like a board game cafe? It's like, nah, I gotta dance. It's like,
we gonna dance at the board game cafe or what?
Yeah, I was like, bro, like chill, man. Like just like have fun. Like take life slowly. Like take life recreationally. Have fun. But like, yeah, I just definitely to touch on that topic of carving identity around one thing. Like I fully believe it's super problematic. Like before, I used to be like very tunnel vision. Like, oh no, like this is me hustling towards one thing to get success in that one thing. But
yeah. Things
always change. Things are always changing. So like, just as to be safe, 100%. Like, don't be carving your identity or self image on like this one thing.
All right, guys. So that brings an end to our second episode of this I guess series of podcasts focusing on mental health.
I'm tired as fuck.
So if you guys learned a little bit something about like how we handled our
our traumatizing experiences,
how we handled our experiences and like how we grew from them. I think that's the most important part is like we grew from those experiences, like traumatic as they were and like stressful and life-changing as they were. Like we are better people because of them, because we were able to deal with them in our own way. And I guess that's kind of like the lesson of this podcast. We're I guess we're not teachers, but like from our experiences, that's kind of like the lesson we learned is just like listen to your own body, cope how you cope. Not everything is gonna work for you, and just be positive towards yourself, and love yourself by Justin Bieber.
Love yourself, baby.
Yes, sir. So yeah, love yourself, and yeah. I don't know what the next topic of the next podcast is gonna be, but hope you guys enjoyed this one.
Feet.
Usual. Yes.
Episode 3 is feet. I'm just kidding.
Episode 3 is feet, bro.
I'm kidding.
Yep. We're showing our feet on cam. Let's go.
No. Getting banned.
No. We're gonna get banned. But yeah, so I hope you guys do the usual YouTube thing, like, subscribe, and comment. Add to the discussion in the comments. We appreciate the feedback.
How do you guys cope?
How do you guys
in the comments?
Yeah. How do you guys cope with the mental health episode or stress or being sad or being down bad or whatever?
Little Timmy69 says, I like to drive a banana deep down my throat and eat chicken wings at the same time.
Little Timmy, you do you, bro. I fuck with it. All right, guys. We'll see you guys next time.
Peace.
3 hours.
Right, peace. I love you.
Love you guys. Bye.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.